5:33 p.m. and workshop regarding the budget is set for 5:30, so let's go ahead and get started. Our workshops are a little more informal. We don't always start out with formalities, so I guess we can start out. The topic that was listed for tonight is the budget for the next fiscal year. I guess y'all all received the same packet of information that I did today. Everybody got it?
Got it.
Well, if y'all would like, I guess we could start off with this past year's revenues. We could kind of see where we came in there. And go back and look at the expenses that we had for this fiscal year.
Just note this revenue expense report is through the last bank statement we have of August 31, so we don't have September.
The revenue is as of August.
Yes, sir, both are August 31st. Revenue and the expenses.
All right, Heather, you want to go over the revenues, or would you like to have Jason start? And
I can go. So if you look down, you start on the thick packet on the proposed budget. If you look at that, on the local sales tax, 4.5%. You know, right now we're at 1.252 million. And you got 105,400, roughly $450 this past month. So if we project that out, I think we're going to be close to the original budgeted amount. I put 1.4 in there as a long shot, but I think we probably need to drop that back. Looking at it to round the 1.38. For 1.385, I think that would be a realistic number. And then, as you continue down that right-hand column, your sales use tax, which is your internet sales tax, it's on track. You know, if we continue what we've done this month, we would be around 595 on a projection. Let's see. Traveling down that same column, local 5-cent gas tax. Probably project a little less than what we did last year. Only about $4,000. You know, that's on the the divide by 11, multiply by 12 type formula. But we can discuss anything you'd like on that.
those columns, I thought it was pretty close. I didn't see anything that I was really way out of line, or I thought I've seen how you figured most of that.
Really, the excise tax, that was the one that surprised me. It jumped up quite a bit, so that took the projection higher than what the budget was last year.
What
think that's, the, I had it today, and I forgot what it was.
I didn't recognize the name.
So the beer drinkers slowed down, but the wine drinkers picked up. If you can look at the, what we've done year to date on both of those.
Your excise tax is usually what's levied on cigarettes, things like that. It's usually considered like your unnecessary goods and services.
Alcohol, tobacco products, firearms, ammunition, gasoline, diesel, sport fishing equipment. Thank you, Google.
Appreciate that.
And I would make a note too, like today we got 4, 5, and 7 cent tax check-in, and that was for, August. So you can look at us still getting September's sometime in December. So you should meet your budget on that as well.
I think the projection on the ad valorem should be where it was last year. I think we should drop that back down to around 270. Because we got 5,300 this past month. That put us at 265. So if you get another 5,000, it'll put you back at 270.
Let's hope some of these homes has been built and additional condos and all will help us get up there, but that's good, move 270, I agree.
Motor vehicle tax would round that back up to 22. Oil production was up. So I think we'd be good around 18.5 on that. The lodging tax exceeded. So if we project that out to where we're at right now, we would be close to just under $60,000.
Did you figure out the balance with the changes yet, Jason?
Haven't yet. I'll plug it in just a few minutes.
So at the top, you're gonna go back to 1,385? Instead of the 1.4.
That's the 35,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one back to 270.
Rental tax, we had budgeted 29. We're at 21 right now, 21.2. Get a roughly about $2,000 a month on that. So if you went, 23, 24,000, go 24. So that would put your local revenue total on that column at 3,149,486.39.
How much was it again, please?
3,149,486.39. The next one will be license and permits, business license. If we were to project it out based on the formula, it would be 565, but we were 524, 301 through the end of August. We got almost $1,600 in August. So we're about, you know, 30,000 short there.
Stay about 530.
I think that'd be pretty accurate. Building permits, projection to be 13,443, but I think if we go back to 15, that would be a pretty safe number.
I agree.
Plumbing and electrical inspection would be around 23,276. You want to 23.5 or 24?
We didn't quite, I mean, I know it was very close. I don't know.
Better say 23.
Good 23.
Yeah. If you're hunting.
You know, planning board and board of adjustment fees, those are really kind of hard to project because you don't know what you're going to get and who's going to come before the boards. We got 2,600 so far this year, but if you average that out, it's roughly 2,500 over the period. So then that would be, ma'am?
25.
Yeah. So it'll be 570, 500 right there. Let's see. Next section,
What did it change the total to on that one? Did I-
570,500.00. Next section there is police fines. The corrections fund is 27,319. If you project that out, it'd be 29,802. What's your thoughts on that?
Honestly, I'd
From-
probably go down to 29.
Yeah, I agree. I was gonna say 28 or 29, so 29.
I didn't put anything in there for drug enforcement because we don't know what'll be hit on. So I left that blank. Left restitution blank. Left local court costs blank because we rolled that into the fines section. The fines, 73,962. Projected out, be around 81,000. What's your thoughts?
$81.
Or 80.
Better stay at 80.
Or at 80.
All right. The bail bond, Heather, you want to leave that at 1,000 or drop it back?
No, I'd leave it at 1,000.
And what about the judge clerk fund? Put that one.
Stays the same.
Put that one back at 1,000. Municipal court judicial admin, 2,790. Project that out to 3,044 roughly. Should that go back up? Yeah, the three,
Admin fund,
yeah,
why don't we go three,
okay.
3,000?
Bond forfeiture, we'll be on track to hit that again at 5,000. The SRO, that's a fixed number. So we roll that over to 84,350. Chief Harold, do you foresee any more of the cops or traffic grants?
Well, cops grant should still fund 2 positions for this budget year. Traffic grant, I think it's probably gonna be about the same as it was last year.
So should that 102, 500 roll over?
I would think so, because for a large part of the past fiscal year, we did not have both positions filled for the grant. They are filled now.
Okay.
So it should be closer to the 102 figure.
All right, we'll roll that number over there, which will give us a new total on the police of 305,850.00. Now we're moving down to miscellaneous. Scrap metal on the recycling, we're around 7,800 so far. If we project that out, it'll be 85. What do you think, Randy?
Try that.
85 even?
Be fine.
Grant income for the 5310 senior, that was 40,000 even, wasn't it? So we need to roll that back to 40. Miscellaneous income, we always stick 10,000 there, because we don't know what would end up getting dropped in there, but we've got a few items on down the way that we're going to kind of split to help that out a little bit. Office copies notary, usually around 1,000. I think we'll be close to that again.
Yeah, 'cause we don't charge for notary, don't we? Well,
That was just on the,
it's just always
been on there. Bless you.
See.
The rental income from Steel Creek, we've had some months that we didn't have it because of COVID, but I think it's recovered pretty well in the short amount of time. We're at 30,445. Project that out to 33, but I think with another term, I think we'd probably be back up around the 35 number. Rental income for the community center, that beat a projection quite drastically. So I wanted to see what you thought on that. We budgeted 3, got 5,800.
Well, I honestly think while renovations are going on, it's still, you may have people who actually would do the community center if they had that option.
So you want to go 5,500, 6,000?
6,000 even sounds good. Keep an even number.
And then the pavilion at Wright Park, that kind of surprised me also. I wouldn't project that out at 7,000. I'd probably drop it back to probably 6. And so you notice I've split up auction proceeds. It's something that we need to think about, in my opinion. We plugged in 5 because this is where all of the gov deal stuff, all of the city vehicles, city equipment that we surplus, everything goes through gov deal. So that's where all of that money goes. But I feel that we should probably break that out a little bit to have a PD, fire, and a public works line.
Agree with you.
So, you know, they get the correct amount of credit for what they sell. It's my opinion. But, Chief, do y'all have any idea, any expectation of what you may sell this year?
Well, we sold the pickup truck and a trailer, so we're gonna sell the whole, command center. The van, that C-20 van. But other than that, a couple of boat trailers, but that's it.
All right. What about you, Chief?
I'm thinking probably 3 cars next year. Probably $6,000-7,000 maybe.
You bought that same roof?
5 to 7, something like that.
Okay. All right, so if we go, what does Public Works have lined up?
I've probably got 5, 6
We'll go-
pieces.
So we safely say, yeah, about 15,000
Yeah.
total?
And the city car.
Create 3 new cost codes and
Surplus it.
got them in the budget now for some we just got.
1,200 maybe. 1,200 probably.
1,200, yeah.
So 15, 16,000 for that section? Go 15.
For all of them.
What do you want to put for each one of them?
We'll just leave it. Well, on that one line that's got the code on there,
Mm-hmm.
let's just put it at 15 and then we'll
Okay.
split the other up 5 apiece, on the back end. So that'll, also got a line here, something Heather and I talked about was insurance payments for retirees and, admin. Because I think a lot of that money goes back into that miscellaneous line item that we have, that 328. You know, that's something that we may need to look at creating a line for. Now that we have some retirees.
Well, it should, because it comes out of the insurance part, it needs to go back into it,
Yeah.
not just hit general.
Right. So, you have any idea what that may be? 'Cause I didn't have a number for that, because we've never really done anything with it.
Probably about 15, 20.
Probably close.
Probably about 20,000.
Okay.
25,000.
So you put 20 in there?
Yeah, 20.
All right.
Is that total miscellaneous line adding up, all those
Yes.
rows?
Mm-hmm.
All those columns. So that new total there would be, it'll go from 81,329 to 93,000 even.
Those were your final, all those auction proceeds.
Oh, hold on. Let me back up. Miss,
Everyone has approved.
I messed up. That number will be 141,500 because I missed 2 numbers at the top. Sorry.
On the total miscellaneous side.
Yes.
Yeah, and for the,
Approved fiscal year 2021 looks off to 40, 56.
that's what I'm saying,
57.
that, I don't think you,
It didn't
I don't
add.
think.
Yeah, it was missing 2.
Yeah,
It was missing those top 2.
that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are those numbers going all the way across?
So the total miscellaneous on the right-hand column now
Proposed,
will be 141,500. That's my fault on that.
It is okay. That's what we're here for, right?
That's right. Baldwin Square donations, it's hard to project really. So I plugged in $100 there, but it went to 50. So, you gonna leave it at 100 or 50?
100.
All right. All right. Sanitation. So originally we were at 680, and then there was a proposal for a $2 per month increase. So I took the previous budget number and multiplied 4,800 by 12 and came up with that 737 number. So, with that said, let's look at that a second. You were at 631, and you get about 57,000 a month.
So there'd have to be an increase in garbage in order to make that 737, 600.
Well, if we take right now we were at 631, 742. So if we add roughly $57,000, which is roughly what you get off of that, that'll run it up to
688?
682,
688, 742. And then if you put, let's see, let me make this note while I got it. You do the $2 increase, that would give you about $4,800 a month, which would be $57,600 for the year, on top of the 688, 742, be about 746 if you did the $2 increase that was requested.
It's the $2 increase. I mean, we ain't discussed that none. I don't know if I want to budget it, cause,
That's what we're here.
yeah, I don't know if we should add that in there, cause,
But if you did it, I mean, you'd have to pass it immediately for it to be effective all year, basically, I guess, to get to that number.
With dumping fees going up and roll-off fees are really high, they're continuing to go up, you're already not meeting your budget on.
On those sides, we're not,
So you almost can't not go up.
I mean, just gonna have to do it in another area if we don't, but
our expense last year was 674, is that right? 500? I'm on the second page right there, just looked at expense for the sanitation. That's the right column.
That's That'll be a projected expense for this coming year.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Last year, under 21, you had 674, 500. Is that just projection? Is that what we?
That was the budget.
Okay, that ain't what we spent. That's what I was looking for, what we did spend.
What you thinking?
I was just looking at doing the math, I mean, from when you'd have to do it and how you'd have to do it to come up with a number. I wasn't trying to stop the conversation or anything, so
Oh, that's
what do y'all think on that?
Well, that's why I put it out there. I mean, I thought we needed to. I know, I mean, I don't want to, but would like to say, in a few areas there, we're not meeting our budget. And with just, the cost going up from year to year. When did we go up? Was it 3 years ago, or do you remember?
It's been a while.
It's been a little while. And
What you could do, you could do it on 11 months. You could project it to start in November. And I dropped that number back down to 741,500.
That's all I was saying, Randy. We hadn't proposed or put anything out, and I feel like we got to do it we got to give notice to the people that's going up.
well, I agree with that. If you want, I was wondering about that too, when we was gonna have to pass it and make it all happen, so yeah, it's gonna take a little time. And that's fine,
That's the reason I
You
was saying like 725
Yeah, we
or
spent
something.
and make it effective,
3,000.
yeah, November.
Right there at it.
And get it all together.
For the purpose of the night, could we just put it 725 or 730 to give us a month or two out?
We can go we can do 7:30.
Is that okay?
730.
Yep. So, moving down, didn't put anything in there for water board interest income. So not really sure what would go in there just yet. We'll have that number very soon. Local gas, 1 cent, and the local diesel, 1 cent. That was what was passed to make payments for the public safety building and whatever else we needed. So project that out roughly 92.5 and 97 respectively.
That 1 cent, I mean, did we have that much of an increase from where we put it at 44,000 last year?
So you're at, shows on the report, under Department 303, it shows 14. So it went up pretty good amount.
It went up good, and I think the numbers that's been put together are pretty close, but I still think, this is just me, that with the gas prices going up, gas and diesel going up, that we may see the volume decrease.
The volume decrease.
So that's
I agree with that.
scared me a little bit on these.
Yeah, well, I mean, the gas is high, and that's what I was wondering. And we all, doubled where we anticipated.
You want to drop that back to, 80 and 80?
80, 88, 85.
80 on both of them? 85? 70?
Maybe 85. I mean, that's
85.
wishful thinking. I hope we can do that again.
We've done it
We had a
this
good
year.
last year.
Not go the other way.
Right.
So change both of those to 85. Capital, I plugged back in at 62. I think in the report, I think it shows that we got 64,945.
What is capital?
That's the money we get from the state.
Okay.
It's usually around $62,000 every year. So with that said, on that total general fund line, I came up with 5,629,436.39. 5,629,436.39. Then moving down to restricted funds. The 4-cent gas from the state. We got 67,935 this year. I think 65.5 will be a safe number. Petroleum and inspection, 1127 is was a year-to-date number. Get roughly at $92 a month, basically. You want to round that to 1,000? Motor vehicle tax was at $18.95. I'd probably stick with 19 there. All right, excuse me, 1,800. And that state of Alabama line, 7 cent. I would leave that at 75. Just roughly it fluctuates around 76. I think 75 would be a safe number. So I give you a total 7 cent number of 77,800. And on your $1 a month volunteer collection, it's 32,500. Roughly what's been received on that every year. Chief Waits on the volunteer, on the forestry grant, 16,000. That's still a good number? Okay.
It is 0 for 2022.
0.
So on your, that total line now will be 32,500. Your rebuild Alabama gas tax, the projected number that we were given from the state last year was 44,000. And I think we're gonna be right on that. 'Cause we're at 40,796. We roughly get about $4,000 a month on that. So I think 44 would be a good number to plug back in there. The Go Mesa grant for Steel Creek, I just moved that number over. And once we get over to the expense side, you'll see where we basically take that out. So everything would balance out. The Bart Park fundraiser, Allison, put your number back in there at $700.
Yeah, I didn't ask y'all yet, but I was hoping that I could use Baldwin Square for October 23rd to do the Halloween Pet Parade. I know y'all remember that from last year. So, as long as you guys are okay with that, then we'll keep it at 700.
Okay.
Thanks.
Then on the American Rescue Plan is the 735,007.
Yeah, double that. In July of 22, they'll deposit the same amount again.
Okay.
So it'll go to 1,470,014.
Be how much?
It's 21470,014. We need to, I'd like for us to discuss, some of the stuff we brought up in the past about, the bonuses for the employees, regarding that. Let's see. All right, so that moved over.
I do know that the program that the league is putting on at the beginning of November, it includes classes on how to spend the money in different ways you can use it. So for those of us that, I don't really know a whole lot about it, but that would be an opportunity to learn some.
I know Chief Waits had put a proposal together for some, and I think Mr. Butler had a proposal out similar to what other cities are doing. So that would be,
Similar to what one city done.
Creola's done it.
Not that, but I wouldn't think they'd done that. The
Sarah-
amount. I ain't talking about the bonus, I'm talking about the amounts.
5,000.
Yeah. I don't think Creola's done that, have they?
It was on the paper, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'll approved it. Last week.
Okay.
I'm not sure the amount, I want to say it was 5.
Just-
Citronelle was less, but my understanding is they had given their employees a bonus last year.
Gotcha.
But I'm not sure of the number.
That'll put a total on your total restricted fund of 2,714,655.
Total restricted funds is what total?
2,714,655. In your overall budget. Now, keep in mind, has all of this restricted funds in there too. Specifically, the Go Mesa and the rescue plan you'll have 8,344,091.39.
Say again, the total? 8?
834,4091.39. That includes the roughly 2.5 million that's earmarked for those two projects. So if you flip to the summary page, those numbers are gonna change now, so we'll have to get you an updated copy of that. But basically, our difference from what was sent from the department heads to us and what we projected on revenues, our difference right now stands at 447, 364. .49, sorry. So if we flip to our expense lines, starting with the, we'll skip those first two groups and go to mayor and council. You know, the salary line there stays the same. All of that stays the same. The only thing that will change on that first group, well, it's grouped on mine, but if you're looking at, if this packet, the employee benefit line will have an increase of roughly 7% due to the insurance going up. It's actually, we got the number today and it was 5.9%. So we put in 7% for the budget. But that does not go into effect until January. So you have some time there. But we can roll that number back if we need to, or we can leave it in. I don't think, you know, a few $1,000s here is going to affect 440. So, moving down the list there, nothing really jumped out at me on from last year to this year. Expense wise, I mean, we had the COVID-19 expenses, but that was all reimbursed. Legal expense, that was on track. Really nothing changed that I changed until we got down to the where was it at? Yep. So if we look at what we've paid on the to EMA, I bumped that up some, and I just took our number that we pay the personnel board currently, which is what, $6,400 roughly a quarter, and just projected that, you know, times 4 to come up with the personnel board number. And just rounded it to 26,000 because it was like 25,800 and some change. The reserve fund line, that's something we started around 2017, 2018, I think, and I think we've got roughly about $75,000 in that account now for creating a rainy day fund for the city on operating expenses. So, you know, the miscellaneous, all of that stayed the same. Now, there's one line that I added, and I've added it in a few other of the groups, is the contract labor. So, like we have currently been paying it out of mayor and council for Tom, Vicky, and James. So what I've done was, as we go through this, you'll see I created a line in Parks, Public Works, and I think Administration and Inspection for that contract labor, so we could charge appropriately across that. that's how you want to do it, or we can dump it all back here under mayor and council like it's currently being paid. I personally think it should be split across the
I
other
like it being
departments.
tracked too.
That way you can see what's happening. So, under the special events, we've got 15,000 there. That's what we've had, Veterans Day, municipal dinner, Christmas parade fees, Christmas parade expenses, the employee safety dinner, the safety cards, Memorial Day program. All those numbers add up to 15,000. I didn't change any of that because it's been, Edith does a great job staying within her budget on those, so let's leave those where they are. Anybody got any questions on that? If not, we'll go to bond payments. We'll have to turn this over to Heather because her and Vicky worked on the bond payment, so I can't really answer much here.
On the 2014 bond, you'll see the principal and the interest amount. I think we kept that. And we changed that one, but the 2009 stays the same. The interest rate, it fluctuates on that bill, so you don't really know each month on that what you're gonna get, because it's variable. We honestly, I think we could have gone down a little bit on it, but not knowing what's gonna happen with the market and what kind of rates we're gonna get each month, I felt like it was best to stay where we were with a little bit of a cushion on there.
I agree with that. So, if nobody has any questions there, we'll move on to the admin. So on the admin numbers, I proposed a 5% increase on the salary, retirement, overtime, FICA, and then on the employee benefits, which is the insurance, I added the 7% there. And then the rest of those items, it pretty much stayed in line, I believe. Anybody got any questions there? If not, we'll roll to police. And Chief Harrell, would you like to go over yours?
Pretty much the only significant increases, I did propose a 5% cost of living for salaries, which of course affected all the other numbers. The overtime increase was based on more of our actual cost this past year, which of course, if we're able to fill our positions, that number should go down. But it should balance out in any case. Other than that, the biggest increase was the cost of gas, but I did try to make reductions in other portions based on our actual expenditures to at least keep our supplies and services number balanced, maybe even a little bit lower than what we spent last year. But the biggest increase is going to be the 5% cost of living.
Chief, I added that, 7% too on that, employee benefit. I can't remember what you had there, but that's why it went to 204.
Yes, sir.
I think you may have had a little more than that. I don't remember exactly what their number was.
I like seeing that vehicle maintenance go down.
That was huge.
Me too.
Question, animal control. We gonna try to budget this year to hire as a dog catcher?
That is your animal control line, that's still working with the county,
That's
right?
contracting through the county still.
Yeah, I mean, I seen 6,800. Just wanna say, are we gonna make any plans to fill that position this year? If we do, it needs to be budgeted.
I don't think we have enough call volume to justify an employee dedicated to animal control duties.
I kinda disagree with you, Chief. That's the reason I'm asking about it. You know, it's just something, if we even go consider it, we need to budget it. It don't mean we have to fill it, you know?
I don't think anybody calls because they don't think anything's gonna happen.
What, Allison?
No one calls because nothing's gonna happen. That's why I don't call. I can't trap a dog in my yard and hope it stays there while the police come and then determine whether it's
I know, and-
aggressive or not.
In all honesty, it'd probably be pretty hard to even hire somebody for the position. I'm just saying, should we budget for it?
My idea last time was to share with Chickasaw, where they would do a morning at one city and then go to the other city in the afternoon, and then rotate, 1 week it'll be early, then the next week it'll be the afternoon, to actively patrol for loose animals.
I'm just saying, should we put a line item there? You know? I mean, that could be discussed later whether we want to or not. I'm just saying, I'd hate to decide later we do and we hadn't put it in the budget.
I thought there was a need for it.
As the chief said, it's gonna be an expense of just one position to fill. We did talk with Chickasaw, and they said currently their person has some other duties, and they would get back with me, and they never did. So I don't know if it
And
got lost in the cracks, or they didn't, wish to pursue it, because I told them we would be interested in splitting the cost if we
Yeah.
could.
And that was a while back, so their situation may have changed, so.
But it's a good idea.
And it doesn't mean we can't partner with, Creola if they were interested, or.
They used the county, I believe.
And I think that was another point, was where do we take the animals once we actually do get them? And that was an issue, because we had
Used to
talked.
be the county, now I don't know if that's changed.
Well, they weren't taking any animals from outside of what their people picked up.
Well, and a large portion of that number in that animal control expense is what they charge to house the animals.
But is that with them coming to pick it up?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that wouldn't be if we picked up our own dogs, right?
Uh,
Or if we picked them up, they would take them?
They still charge you the fee though.
They're still gonna charge you,
No, I know, but I'm saying, I was thinking that we didn't have anywhere to take them once we actually got them, was another issue that we came across.
Right.
They had so many already.
Okay, like I say, it's just a question, because I think that animal control expense.
Okay.
what we've been trying to do with animal complaints is do our best to reunite the animals with the owners, and that usually is accompanied with a citation.
Moving on to court. So same thing on the top, 5%, 7% on the employee benefit line. The rest of the numbers there were, didn't fluctuate that much, not enough to really change the line.
It looks pretty close to the same. I mean, I don't, unless y'all see a reason to really spend a lot more time, that's too close.
Move into fire. Chief Waits, you want to discuss yours?
So mine did go up a pretty good bit, but we were way under budget when I took over. I'm just trying to get up to where we should be, pretty close to operating budget. My biggest expense is gonna be trying to hire two more full-time personnel and promote. That should have been a 5% at the bottom for captain promotions. 10% instead of a 5% at the bottom for captain promotion. A new vehicle. We're working on a grant right now, actually working on 3 grants right now. One for fire hose and equipment through Firehouse Subs, 2 AFG grants for safer grant for personnel, and one for SCBA's, which will be expiring in the next couple of years. But some of my little line items went up to try and offset to where we need to be at. I'm still way under where I need to be as operating. I added a equipment purchase line at 75,000 down here.
Did you make it that account number? All equipment purchases?
I didn't hear you.
Did you come up with that account number, or did?
I may have.
You may, almost like, we already have one for that.
That's what I was gonna ask, do we, or where did you have the equipment that you buy? Where was that at?
It is under, let's see, equipment purchased, but it's never, nothing been in it. According to my records. It's at a negative $3,761, but there's never been any money put in that line item.
Chief, just a question, but you putting in for, 2 more employees?
Full-time fireman, yes,
I
sir.
mean, is that, partly because of the efforts that we're helping Creola? Or is that just mainly what we need here? Satsuma, or?
I didn't take any effect, anything to do with Creola. It's
Didn't?
totally for Satsuma.
Okay.
Within the next couple of years or sooner, we'll probably be required to have 4 personnel on duty at all times to try and keep our ISO ratings at a 4 or lower.
I'm just saying, I know we make a ton of calls up that way, and,
No, sir, it doesn't have anything to do with that.
okay.
Because I'm actually short 2 personnel, so I'm just trying to fill those slots to put 3 on shift each time for the safety of the employees.
You were trying to get that RS too, remember?
Sorry,
Need 3 people.
Right.
For the RS,
right.
yeah, so we need it'll save our, insurance too.
Plus I put a 5% cost of living across the board raise in there too.
I'm ready when y'all are. Public Works. So, Miss Crystal submitted this, and I think her and James worked together, and I just kind of flowed their numbers down what they had. Only change that I made was her request to move the chipper truck repairs, supplies, and leaf vacuum repairs to the Public Works line. And I added the contract labor project manager line in at 20,000. So my idea on the 20,000 is, you know, if you got these guys that are working for us retired, they can only make so much per year. So if you split James between, you know, you could pay him some out of this, you could pay him some out of parks. So, you know, that combined salary would be reflected in the different areas.
Where he
if that
works
makes
at.
sense, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So that's the reason that $20,000 line is there.
I do want to discuss a couple of things on here. Equipment purchases, last year we had 10,000, this year you got 12,000. In all honesty, that needs to be 100,000. I mean, we got two pieces of equipment we got to purchase this year. We got to purchase that excavator and that tractor. So we might as well go ahead and budget them. You know, one of them's 47,000, doesn't go run around 45, maybe a little less, somewhere in there. So I would like to see that line item increase right there. And looking over, there's another area, and you might know right where it is, Jay. Like we had 37,000 for equipment purchase this year we didn't even use.
That was on the I think it's the 7 cent.
Well, what I'm getting at, could all that be rolled into one?
I think I think it has to stay where it's at on the budget.
Or let's increase one of them for the excavator and the other one for the tractor. You know, that's what I'm saying. We got two different accounts there.
Yeah, so if you if your equipment can be used for that,
Right.
you know, you can pay it out of that.
And the other one on the 7
$37.5.
cent for the ditches and stuff like
Right.
that. So that would cover
That's
either
right.
one of them, to be honest.
Right.
So maybe increase each one of them to 50 grand, you know.
So yours what you're talking about is the 37.5 is under the 4 cent.
Right.
And yeah, so if you did, you could purchase something
You know, we just,
used with 4 cent money and then
right,
budget.
it's going to be a must we
other
do
on
this.
the-
So I just want to put it, whether we split them or put them in one account, that we do get that money in the budget.
So if you leave you and I had talked before about if you did the mini X,
Mm-hmm.
you know, making those payments out of the 4 cent. I mean, that
Right,
would
see,
definitely
that's what I'm
cover-
saying. You could put one in one and one in the other.
Right.
And, but I just want to be sure the money's there to do the purchase of both pieces of equipment.
What was the?
Our
remind me
tractor,
what the
our tractor
tractor
is
was on.
wore slap out. Yeah. The
Well,
one
that
to
was-
pull the bush hog with.
That's ditch work, right?
Yeah.
So you could,
That's what I'm saying.
it could come out of that too.
We just want to be sure we got enough money in whichever account to make these two purchases.
Yeah, because if we did when we looked at the mini X, we were less than 8,000, right?
Right.
On the, on the lease.
That's right.
So yeah, if you did that and did the tractor the same way, you'd definitely be covered.
Well, the tractor, I don't know if we can do that the same way till we get to looking at it. I don't have a clue how that works.
I think it should. I think you should be able to, because if you do the lease agreement.
But it'd be nice to pay for them and not even, whatever. I just want to be
Yeah.
sure we can make them purchases this year.
Yeah, I don't foresee if we could get the proposal for the tractor and ask them to do it like you had looked at on the Mini X.
I've asked around and I feel confident we can do the purchase for around 45, maybe a little less. That's what
Gotcha.
I'm saying, somewhere in there. Depends on the horsepower you need for the tractor.
Right, and that's all dependent upon what you're going to do.
Right.
So I think
It'd be nice to roll in that side cut and bush hog too, while you're just doing it. you know, 'cause, but anyway, we need to just make sure we got that money.
Yeah, let's throw that, let's go ahead and see if we can get a proposal on that. That way we ain't gonna know what it costs before we can really budget for it.
Can you do that for us, Crystal? Look on the state bid for that tractor and see about what it'd run. 'Cause I don't have a clue of the horsepower right now sitting here.
I put that brochure on your seat today. Did you get that?
I did not.
Sitting right there in
It's
front
here.
of you.
Okay. Is there any prices in it?
There should be a single paper there with the price quote on it for that tractor that you requested.
Then like I say, which horsepower would it be though?
The 2600.
So you're gonna increase those again?
I give him the brochure.
That's something I guess we need to talk about, because
Right.
if you do the lease, you could pay for the lease out of the 4 cent, 37.5, and still have,
How much did we increase 4 cents? Yeah, look at your revenue, but
right.
I think you had
65.5.
so we didn't increase the revenue on that, so you're gonna have to.
Well, if you did the lease, and you just make the payments out of it,
right. I think that's what you'd said.
instead of doing the
The full $100
full
grand.
100 or full whatever. You paid the monthly note out of that, you'd still have some left over.
$1,500 a month.
Around, around 19,000 a year on both of them, you know, doing a rental. Like I said, I just want to be sure the money's there to do this year.
Yeah.
And also, you know, the ditches and all, we don't have a line item to track maintenance costs on them. Do we need to start doing that too? You're talking about tracking all these other costs to where we can put money in it just for our infrastructure, you know, for when we're doing that. In other words, right now, we're rolling all of it into what?
Well, let's see, on the,
I was trying to figure out how we're tracking, you know, when we're doing that work there, what account codes it going to?
we hired the company to come out to clean out those, the boxes and all that was full that you had come out. What did we pay them out of? Which account? Do you,
Out of the contract labor account.
well, that'd be a lot more of a professional service to hire one of those companies to come out and blow.
Some of that might
stuff
could even
off.
come out of the 4 cent or.
It may have come out of there. Without having it in front of me, it may have come out of there.
I'm just saying, you know, I couldn't see nowhere where we actually track the cost of the time we're spending
Yeah.
doing that, and I'd like to be able to show that to the end of the year, that we spent this many dollars maintaining our ditches, you know, and cutting our grass and things of that nature. That'd actually help us in, if we track the cost of what we spend a year on the grass cutting, so it'd help us decide in the summertime do we want to hire help, you know, 'cause we can get bids on it, see how the cost works out. But right now, I don't know how we're tracking any of that. I think right now, we just put a labor cost in, don't we, to that department, Heather? Is all we do daily?
They enter the hours that they work for that.
Well, what I'm saying though, it just goes to like a general fund. It don't say whether they cut grass that day or they worked in the ditches
This is how it works.
or worked on trucks or whatever. It's just to one cost code, correct?
Yeah, when we enter in payroll, it doesn't ask for specific hours for grass. I mean, it,
And that's what I'm saying. I'd like to see that busted down to where we track it to what we're doing. You know, so we can sit back to the end of the year and we'll know what, we're just exactly what we're spending our time and money on.
So you wanna break down from the department, you wanna break that department's work down into how much was worked on grass, how much was worked on.
Yeah, kind of asking for ideas. I'd like to know at the end of the year. I mean, like garbage, you know exactly what they spend on labor. I don't have a clue. What did we spend cutting grass this year? What did we spend digging ditches?
Cause honestly, I
You
don't
know?
know that our system will break it down like that. That may be something she could keep up with.
Well, I mean, we had a line item here, just like all these other cost codes. And when she turns in time, she's writing that cost code to it. It should track it to it. Shouldn't it? I mean, you're breaking all this other down.
I mean, I track it for different departments, but not
Not specific.
specific jobs, other than the time sheets they'll put on there mowing or weed
Right,
eating or.
but we don't know, we have to, when it comes to due, after we pay the check, we don't know what we paid for. We just know we wrote a check.
You know what department, I mean, you don't know what specific
That's,
job they were.
that's the problem I have with it.
But I don't think our payroll system would do that. That's what I'm trying to say. It may be something Crystal can do a spreadsheet on for you. But I don't think when we enter 8 hours, it doesn't give me an option to say, of those 8 hours you work today, you work 4 in parks cutting grass, you work 4 in parks.
I ain't worried about doing an hour or two as I am, usually they work all day in a certain thing, and I'd like to have a cost code for that. I mean, we just not tracking the cost, and every other department does. You know where every penny goes, and we don't.
Not necessarily. I mean, like for instance, my salary, it's split 60 admin, 40 court.
Okay, well, I want 60 cutting grass and 40 digging ditches. That's what I'm saying, you know?
I don't know how we would do that. I mean, I'm up. for
Well, I'd like to figure it out. That's what I'm
whatever,
saying. I would.
but It's gonna be a lot of administration time. We're already shorthanded. I mean, we are stressed to the gills in this office with the work that we currently have. So that would, I mean,
I just see all these cost codes here for everything else, and I'm asking for 2 line items, and I'm told we can't add them 2 cost codes. I just don't understand that.
well, your cost code comes under salary. It doesn't, that's what I'm confused on. I'm not trying to be argumentative. It comes under salary for each department. It doesn't come under what you're actually working on. I mean,
You said for sanitation, it breaks it down, so.
Well, I'm just saying, you know,
where-
his labor's, he knows where they're at because, you know, it's got a cost code for that labor.
Where on his thing?
I hadn't looked at it right
So if we
now.
looked on that, then maybe we could take
it
his.
does-
But-
it says,
not gonna-
it all says 800 sanitation.
Okay.
570 is parks, 580 570 is public works, 580 is parks, 800 is sanitation. If they work sanitation, their cost code hits that 01-800-1000 account. If it's overtime, it hits the 1002.
It looks, I guess it does, theirs doesn't do that then, like you were
But
thinking.
It doesn't necessarily tell him if his driver is in the garbage truck or the trash truck, and that's the same thing that you're asking for, is whether they're weed eating or digging ditches.
I can certainly call the company and.
I'd like to
see.
know, can we? Because like I say,
I've just never seen an option to do that.
it'd really help us during the year to know what we need to do when we go to do this budget, you know, where we at on certain things. Because if you notice, my budget, the labor's sky high. I don't have a clue what we spent it on.
Labor,
On what we spent last year. We went over budget.
you talking about in salaries itself?
Yes, yeah.
Line item salaries?
On the expenditures.
And,
Let me find it.
580, I meant 570?
Yeah,
Work?
year-to-date, we budgeted, 245. Year-to-date, we spent 275.
Well, you got James's retirement coming out of that.
Okay, but it don't say that. That's what I'm saying. It shows we're over budget, and I don't have a clue what that money was used for. Because it's just one account number. And that's what I'm talking about. We have no way to track it to know.
That would, if that's the case, that would be every single department. I mean, Edith does, her salary comes out of two different things, but she doesn't get paid out of inspections department, and she's doing permits a lot during the day too. Same thing for Trey. I mean, I could see it coming out of every department that way.
Well,
So
if
we
you,
would have to see.
the proper way is to do that. I mean, a true accounting system, you do that.
But how does she keep up with her time during the day saying?
I mean, you're asking me questions, I don't know. I'm just telling you, I want to see if we can do that. How to do it, you're saying how we do it.
How to do it.
I don't know your system. You know, I don't know if
But
it,
as an employee, how is she gonna, I mean, is she gonna keep up with her, everything she's doing every hour? Like, I mean, she may be doing AP, which is paid out of admin, and then have to stop and do a permit. That's what I'm saying, how's she gonna track that?
well, I don't know. You tell me. That's what I'm saying. I'm telling you, I'm asking for a cost time in my department and you're wanting to go citywide. You know, everywhere I ever worked, we wrote down a cost, everything had a cost number. We wrote it down and it tracked it to it.
I think that's probably different than, I mean, I don't know. I've never worked in an office environment where you did that, so I
Yeah.
don't know how you would do
Or
that.
have I?
Sounds like to me you need to hire somebody else,
We're trying.
Maybe they could clock in and do something for 5 minutes and then clock out and then clock back in and do.
Yeah, I
that
didn't
work
bring
for
this
30
up for a
minutes.
joke. I brought it up being realistic
That's how you
and
could track
honest.
it.
No, you track it by numbers.
What
Not
does that
clock
mean
in.
by
We don't even have a
numbers?
time clock. That's a whole nother thing.
What does that mean though by numbers?
By cost code.
Yes, how would you like to track that though? I think is what they're, do you have a format that they would follow? Do you have an idea or like where this has been used before that they could?
Well, you know, in all your maintenance systems, you have, everything has a cost code.
Where
And you
did
write a
you-
work order and you track it to that code and then you just roll down.
Right, so whenever you did that, could you, like, was that, what company did you work for?
Allison, let's put it this way. You had in your department on the budget on labor, look at what you got left. Okay, it's
Because we're mid-
40-something $1,000. That's because a lot of what we did was in parks, which is fine, but it come out of another department's money. Serena said, I'd like to see it tracked.
Right, I guess they're saying tell them how to do that.
Well, if y'all want me to, I'll figure out how to do it. I didn't know you was gonna want me to do that too,
I think so.
you know?
I think that's where they're, since no one else seems to know.
Nobody else seems to care. You know, that's what I'm
I
saying.
absolutely care. I wouldn't be working for the city.
Let's just move on, Jason. There was a question about a line
I
item.
just, I don't mind asking the company if there's a way to do that, but I
Well, if
don't.
it's an accounting, it should be,
We'll send them in and they'll do some training
you know?
for that,
Well, they
right?
charge for that, but-
So on that Public Works, Crystal, you said you paid, SIS out of that contract labor line, you believe?
Honestly, Jason, it could have come out of the, 4-cent tax.
That's fine. I just didn't,
Without having it in front of me, I don't remember, but
That's
I do
fine.
know, when-
I took that out thinking that it was from when we did the ballpark stuff. So if we need to put that back in, you
the
know,
reason being, when we use the county
that's right.
employees,
Yep. I
that comes
forgot
out of
about
there.
them. Sorry about that. I'll plug that back in.
Where's that at?
On the Public Works tab, 570, 3113. I'd taken 20 out. We need to put that back.
Yeah, it's gotta go back in there. That's not SIS?
While we're speaking about that, the difficulty we've had with the personnel board, that if y'all are really serious about the contract labor, that may need to go up in a lot of the departments, because I just don't see that situation getting any better. And I've shared with y'all that every time that we could talk, that every mayor, especially in the smaller cities, is complaining about that. Nobody is able to fill the positions in any timely manner. So, those projects that you're really wanting to get going, I'm just saying we may have to hire contract labor. So we can do it now, or we may have to amend the budget once we get into the to the fiscal year, because I just don't see how they will let us create the positions when Heather tried to. You know, they basically gave us the requirements of what somebody would be, and we're just not having that type of applicant apply here.
Right.
That would meet that.
So moving over to parks, these are some more numbers that Crystal submitted. The only thing I changed was the employee benefit line for the insurance. She added prisoner expense to parks, thinking that, Crystal, you may want to expand on this so I don't mess it up, but I think I read your email stating that you thought adding 2 inmates to parks would help the parks labor issue.
Yes.
And that's why, you know, it was at 20 there. So disregard that 36 that you see, because that was the public works line that I carried over. So we'd have to have a new account number for this one, Heather.
I'd still like to have a working supervisor that can make decisions and seek out tasks that need to be completed and work on their own.
I think she had did you add, I think she added some for that, I believe.
Yes.
Can it happen?
That's a different question.
That's what we're talking about. We can't get, I need an inspector too.
Brady, you're hired. So there are some things on there that I would kind of like to either be specific on. But I guess we could get into that later. And I know, like, down at the bottom, I don't know if you're ready to move down that far, but I think that beautification with the flags, that was what we did last year when we purchased those banners.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure, maybe we need to fall back to what it was maybe 2 years ago, and then move 4,000 of that up to, I would really like to see that concession stand restroom combo at C&D Field over at Wright Park, since we never got a chance to do that. And increase that improvements at Wright Park budget line to 10,000. And I know this money was in here, but we just never had anybody to carry out the work on a lot of the items. And with one of them being the disc golf, we had done $4,000 last year because we wanted to add the additional 9 holes. I mean, obviously, we can only do so many things, and that was something that didn't get done. And I know that it went down to $2,000, but I'm not sure we could add 9 additional holes for just that. So within this budget for parks, I would think that we could just move some things around. And I don't know when that needs to be decided, or if we can just do it throughout the year as we get a project completed, and, you know, see how much is left in that line, and then move it to another line or something. I don't even know if that's possible.
So we'll take the 4,000, take the flags down to 4,000.
Yeah, I can't remember what a normal year for flags cost, because I think that comes out of the, you know, the south and north end flags. I think that's included in that.
So we'll move 4,000 up to the improvement at Wright Park line to make that 10.
Yes, please.
Okay.
And that was all I could see for I noticed you had dumpsters. Is that new, dumpsters?
I did not add that. I don't know.
No, so that was on one of my reports. So I added that in there, but I never saw the total. It may be something that's paid from somewhere else.
We had taken the dumpsters away because we found that people were dumping their home trash in the dumpsters, and it wasn't effective for the
Okay.
parks themselves.
All right.
I think we could probably really remove those 2 line items.
All right,
We
I'll-
don't even have those
delete.
It was an issue over at Wright because it was back in the back. And, it just didn't go well, so I think we took those off.
All right, I deleted it.
Oh, okay.
So if you're good, we'll move on to inspection.
Okay. I do want to mention one thing.
Put that down on the bottom.
Bubba. You know, obviously I have a ton of money left in mine, so it's gonna go to whoever is over their budget, it's gonna all even out at the end. So, I mean, I'd love to have somebody else that was in Public Works that would come work for the parks. So,
Yeah, that's, I don't have no problem with moving the labor around, I just wanted it tracked. I was also sitting here thinking, you know, we got improvements to right lines. Do you think we need a line item for Steel Creek and the kayak boat launches?
It's on there.
But are they on there? I was reading them, I didn't see them.
yeah, the
When you had to
Gunnison
bring
Creek.
rock in and stuff.
Yeah, it's under utilities.
Well, that's what I say, is that what that means? I thought that was just paying the power bills and
Let's
stuff,
see
water bills.
what we had.
There's, let's see.
What you're saying?
There's no improvement for either one of them, like I say, to do maintenance down there. Do you want to add a line for it or not, you know?
I've never had a question about anything that's been done over there. So, I mean, is there something that we need to,
We work on the parking lots all the time. You know, the parking lots get wallered out and then the four-wheelers get in there, dug them out. Just, you know, you do a little maintenance work down there.
you're talking about at
Lights and
Gunnison
stuff.
Creek?
Huh?
You're talking about at Gunnison?
Talking about both of them.
Because Steel Creek would have the Go Mesa grant. We'll take care of all that.
Right now it will, but I'm just saying, you know,
Just for future?
yeah.
Steel
You know,
Creek.
And the kayak down there, this parking lot's pretty rough.
Steel Creek's got its own tab we'll get to, but it does have improvement line in there.
Okay, I just seen it there. I was just curious if you wanted to add a line item for it.
I'd love to have part of the county's Blue Water Trail. Gunnison Creek is part of that, and somehow get the county to come out and do something where it could pave that area and do some signage. I know we just have that one launch there, but really, actually, I've got it here from years and years ago, but we can talk about that another time. Blue Water Trail.
Moving on.
Inspections.
Inspections ain't, much, I mean, up to insurance a little bit, but there ain't much change there.
Yeah, I added the employee benefit 7%, and then everything else was roughly the same. Added the contract labor line that we didn't have.
Well, I hate to disagree with both of you, but one thing changed. Our inspector retired, and for what we're paying, we hadn't even really got, we've had 3 good interviews that we offered the job to people, and they've turned it down.
Yeah.
So Tom called me and said that if you're really serious about hiring somebody, you're going to have to pay more than what we're paying. That's just about it. You know, whatever y'all want to do. That's,
Well, it's a touch more, but if you wanna bump it on up, we can bump it on up.
well, I ain't being smart aleck. Both of y'all are out in construction, you and your business, and you out there every day. You know what a competent person is and what they make, and somebody that can come to work every day and get up and knows something about building and all. I'm scared we're not gonna recruit. If we recruit somebody, it's gonna be somebody looking for another job when they get here, I feel like. I just throwing that
But you
out.
think that's the biggest problem, was the salary?
It is the problem, you know.
This is the problem with all the parks.
Everything.
Yeah. I don't know.
I wasn't gonna try to slow the meeting down, I just wanted to make sure y'all were aware of what was being said.
About 65.
We can look at adding a little bit there, but we can move on if you want to.
Because we'll look at that, because we'll have to change those FICA numbers and everything based on whatever salary we plug in there. Steel Creek expenses, no, nothing really jumped out at me here. Pretty much stayed where it was. Got the community center,
Insurance, you can go back down to
800 there.
Yeah, that was.
That was that, because that's where I added that 7% on the wrong line. Go to citizen services. We bumped the salary up, bumped the insurance up on the employee benefit line. And everything else, was roughly the same.
Right.
They're under debt. This is where the city purchased 2 cars back in 2019. It was roughly about $20,000 on those for the payment for the year, and the van and the public works truck, those 2 payments. A total of about $37,000. Nothing there. We go to sanitation. These were some more, some numbers that Crystal had proposed, and the only thing that changed since you got this would be the notes payable, where it reflected, now reflects the new garbage truck. And I've got one other one I've got a question about. Down there on the bottom, that's that 5855. I gotta get some clarification on what that is. Once I get that clarification, I'll email you the corrected form on that one.
The 2021 is gonna be 36 months at $6,306.61 a month. You see on there that 2019 figure, that's the one we just turned in,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be replaced with, $6,306.61.
Total of 75,679.32 would be the 12 months on that. But like I say, I'll clean this up and email it to you. Ma'am.
Salaries for garbage, we need 4 employees in there, and that salary only covers 3.
Okay.
That was the reason why I had increased it the way that I did. So
Okay.
that would cover that 4th, or before that 4th employee was being paid out of Public Works.
You told me about that. What was your number there?
My original number was 188,000 with the increase, but that may be over just a little bit with the raise increase.
I'll see if I can get it to the figure.
That's close enough for tonight. You can shoot it to me tomorrow. It'll be fine. Any other questions on sanitation? Thoughts?
We do have real quick, I mentioned, I think, in the council meeting about looking at another company for the dumping fees and roll-off fees. And I think, with the quote that Crystal, that we've got, is gonna help us in that, on that area a little bit, so. That'll be upcoming. I'll probably bring that next meeting or two or something, when we get it all exactly ready.
Is that with Jeff?
Yeah, with, with Sanson. What was the name of that company though?
Armor.
Armor Environmental, I think, yeah.
So, looking at your capital line there, 16,000 under admin is the software hosting, service and maintenance, that we have to pay every year. Under miscellaneous, I had a project miscellaneous there for 7,000. I left that in there. Right in lines part renovation. Allison, here's your 14,000 that Crystal proposed for the field. Improvements to City Hall back door was at 7,000 last year. I just moved that across. And
We got the estimate to do some painting and do all the doors, and it was 16,000, so
okay, we need to.
what it was, and I just didn't have it in the budget, so we didn't press forward with it. So that might need to,
If we wanted to do that, we could take that, delete that 7 on that 1,006 line and add it to the improvements line and make that 14. If you wanted to do that. What's your thoughts?
I mean, that's a good idea to move the two together and make it 14, but I mean, I feel like
We're still gonna be under.
still gonna be a little under, so we,
But we also had, when we shifted some of the parks money around too, so we may have a couple thousand there that we could play with from the beautification line, since we had the full amount here. Then the tennis court,
I'd like to donate that money to the Public Works building.
which one?
Move it from the tennis court renovation to Public Works renovations. That's just my idea.
I had, on the 18, are you gonna spend is all the tennis court money gonna be spent this year?
I mean, are you asking if we're gonna have to
Yeah, so
go
this,
over?
Well, it's not gonna be paid out of this fiscal year, it's gonna run in.
I can't answer that question.
that was why I left that 18 there in case, like if you paid a portion this year, and I was assuming that you'd have about 18,000 still owed. I don't know. That
I'll
was.
give you the teenager answer. I don't know.
The
I don't
last
have
I
that
spoke to them, last week before last, they were getting everything situated, ordered, and figuring out when they can go do it, because the temperature has to be right.
Gotcha.
Can we cut him a check for the full amount and pay it out of this year's budget?
Guess you could.
I mean, I don't know how that
I
works.
think, don't quote me, but I think the contract said you pay a quarter, and then.
You know they wouldn't be mad if you paid it.
I'm sure they wouldn't be mad if you paid them in full, but,
I know we don't
Yeah.
wanna do that, yeah.
I mean, you don't wanna pay for something before you check in to make sure
Twenty.
it's
No, you
done.
don't. I know that's what happened last year, that stuff
I would-
didn't
I
get
would
paid and
Probably move it.
Good price.
That pretty well conclude what you have for us to go through.
She's saying move all of it over.
Would you not want to move it over?
If you're not gonna pay anything out of it, it's gotta be moved.
Yeah, I will move it all
All right,
over.
move it
I'll
all.
just move it.
Then I left you see the Go Mesa line in there, under a non, it's still under the non-budgeted item. So we'll just leave that there for now, because we actually take it out on the other side. 1 cent, here is just the placeholder for the payments for the public safety building. 136,526. I mean, nothing we can do there. Those payments are what they are. $1 a month volunteer. That's the payments on the fire, the latest Pierce fire engine.
Where are you at? If you
Our
don't-
paper
We don't
ended.
have that.
I don't have that. What happened?
I kinda thought we was done.
Meeting
We are.
adjourned.
That's the end of my book.
That's right. That means we get to go.
Who didn't print the rest of it? No, I'm just kidding. All right, well, I'll send, let me go back and I'll clean this up and email it out to everybody so you'll have it. And the only other items that was left was the $1 a month where we pay out the Pierce fire engine, and the 4 and 7 cent and the Reinvest Alabama gas tax money, where we had talked about, paying the notes on the equipment out of that. The pipe field, field dirt, gravel, contract labor, Baker Road generator, street light expenses, all of that. And I'll get that out to you, so you can kind of see where everything's at with it.
Okay, well, I don't know if any of the council, anybody up here have any other things they didn't discuss as it went through their departments tonight? Okay. Well, we had a couple of people been sitting here all night, hadn't said anything. I wouldn't want us to go away without at least acknowledging. Mr. Kane, any comments? Mr. Jack? Did you have anything? I know I'd seen you talking some during that. Ladies from the Ladies Club, we all have any quick statements y'all want to make?
I'm just listening. Can I speak back here, or do I need to come up here?
Just,
It doesn't really matter. This is
Probably.
very informal. I do have one question. On the fiscal or calendar year on the $62,000 capital, do you get that every year at the end of the fiscal year, or will you be getting your $62,000 again at the beginning of the year? Is it calendar or is it fiscal?
Generally, whenever the state sends the check, so we really don't know.
Okay. And then there again, the reason for us being here is just really listening to see where we can come up with some money for the Union Chapel. And so I know Jay has our agreement, and there was some couple of changes and additions that I think that we wanted. And I noticed he's not here, so we won't get into that tonight. But that was the only question that I had in reviewing over here. I was just wondering actually how much was in the capital improvement fund to be used for other projects. So
I think you said you would like for the chapel to be included in
I'd
that.
like for the chapel to be included
Yes, ma'am.
as treasurer. So we'll entertain any questions later on, because I know it's been a long night
Yeah,
crunching numbers.
All right. Like I said, I just hope y'all remember the city hall repairs, because we discussed a lot of things we wanted to do. We had our pictures made. where they could display some changes. The city hall has not been anything done to it now. Some minor repairs that needs to be done. The vehicle out here, y'all know we've been using an inspection truck for about everything for a year now. The old car is just, it's embarrassing, ain't nobody gonna drive it. There was some discussion about wanting to go some travel or attend classes or something like that, and we really didn't increase much travel stuff in the budget, so it's gonna pretty well stay just the way it did if y'all didn't remember to do that. Mr. Phillips did bring up a good point, and I do think he's right on some of that stuff like ditches and drainage. Without something, you know, as recent as today, I know I'm sure y'all did too. I got phone calls. I was told to look at Facebook. People think that we don't do anything on ditches. That's not true, but we really can't show exactly what we're doing, and I think that's kind of what Mr. Phillips was alluding to. So some way we need to do something to show in the budget. There's a line item where we do hire contractors to come out. We do hire the county to come in and do ditch cleaning some. There are things being done in the past year and in the years before, but it's not reflected. And in the animal control, I would like for us to all put some thought in it. I know that we can't afford what we would like to do, but I do think there's enough complaints on four-wheelers and on dogs or animals that we need to keep that in mind while finalizing our budget.
Chief, can you bring us that ordinance that you had on the four-wheelers and golf carts next week? So we
Yes,
can
sir.
look at it?
Yes, sir.
Also, I'd like to say something from an engineering standpoint on the drainage. Is there is a rain gauge that's connected to the internet that you can go to and look online. It's on Hannah Chase. This morning between 4:45 and 5:15, it registered 3.9 inches per hour. And there is not a ditch system in the country that's designed for that. You know, and I understand the frustration, I get it. But at the same time, you know, we're flat as a pancake here. And
if anybody was out this morning at 4 or 5 o'clock, they would have seen the ditches were performing, and we were getting rid of a lot of water. Like you said, I don't think anybody plans for that type of a downpour.
you can't, because
On
you'd
top of the high water we've had.
You'd have 60-inch pipes.
70 inches this year already.
Yeah.
But that's a good point. Thank you.
I will mention again that I dug my own ditch, and it does help. I know that everyone can't dig their own ditch, but if you can do some.
You know, I'm sorry, I'm getting off track here, but that was another thing that was brought up was, you know, enclosing the ditch with a pipe. A 15-inch pipe is not going to carry the same amount of water as a trapezoid-shaped ditch that's 2 feet wide at the bottom and 3 feet wide at the top. You know, so that's just my 2 cents on it.
And I didn't even dig it that much, just a couple shovelfuls, and you can see it where it goes in. I mean, it helps.
I don't want to get off on another subject, but just for a reminder, Monday night, 5 to 7, a public meeting, Steel Creek Lodge, regarding the water sewer expansion on the west side of I-65. There'll probably be some right-of-way discussion also coming up pretty soon on where we may need a little additional room over there for them. But that was it. We've looked over the revenues. Everybody's had a chance to see it, read over this stuff for the few days, digest it, and we'll see if we can come up with something everybody can live with.
ARP bonus, what are we doing with that? I have 12 guys asking me about that. Is that going to be discussed, or what are we doing about that?
All my guys are asking too.
Chief, we have discussed that there's going to be bonuses coming. I don't think there's been an iron set amount yet.
Sorry?
I said we haven't agreed on an amount yet.
That's, hasn't been discussed. I mean, I don't know. I haven't heard anything.
I think you heard Councilman Jason Skelton mention tonight that you had sent an email to us, or you sent an email to us all during the hurricane. Remember the other day?
Yes, sir, I do, but I hadn't heard anything, so I mean, there's been no discussion. I was just wondering, I know he said something about it, but then nothing was said, so I don't know where we're at.
Can we add it to the agenda on Tuesday?
Not for Tuesday. I mean, I'd like for us to pass the budget before we start giving money away. I mean, that only seems right to me. If you'd like to do it after we agree on a budget, then we can.
I was just thinking that was one of the only ways that you could use that money.
That is one of the ways we can, and I thought we'd all agreed to do that. Have you set an amount yet?
No, I was asking if we could put it on the agenda for Tuesday.
I said I'd like to put passing a budget on the agenda prior to doing that. I would think would be the proper way to go. That's my
So
thought.
we can't put it on the agenda for
I mean,
Tuesday.
Not Tuesday. Is that an issue or anything? I mean, is that a problem that I'd like to pass the budget before we agree on what we're gonna do? I mean,
I didn't say anything. I just said, can we put it on the agenda for Tuesday? I was merely trying to, you asked the timeline or when, and
Well, I just
so I said, can we talk about it? If we put it on the agenda, we can at least start talking about it Tuesday. We don't have to agree on anything, but we can at least open lines of communication, and so our employees know that, yes, we are thinking about them, and yes, we are
I haven't
serious.
heard an elected official once say they wasn't for it. Have you?
But if
So we're all
we
for
keep
one.
pushing it off, it makes it seem like we're not serious, and we're not taking it like their personal lives, that like they could use the money. Everybody could probably use the money, but these guys and girls that put their life out there, and to protect and, hard workers. I just think that if that's how the money can be used, that's how it needs to go. And why wait? If it's already there, we can go ahead and get started talking about it. I mean, maybe we don't vote on it Tuesday, but we can at least be ready to vote on it the next time. So, unless, I don't know what you want to spend it on. Do you have an idea of what we should spend it on? Because if we've already decided that that's what we want to do as a council, then I think we should go ahead and do it.
You brought it up yourself. There's gonna be some meetings about it as to, educating everybody as to how you can spend the money.
Sure. Well, she said the values is going to be doubled again. You get another payment?
Yeah, we've already been awarded, they sent us out what we were awarded, and they give it out in 2 different
Yeah, so
deposits.
you'll-
One in July this year, one in July of next year.
I'm saying there's going to be an excess, so whatever after the bonuses, we would still have money left over to decide if we wanted to do something else.
I think we need some figures as to maybe what other cities are doing, or opposed to how much we're gonna get. I mean, we might wanna give them more, but
We at least start somewhere
who's
then.
to say,
That's all I was asking.
what that number
I
is?
sent an email, I talked to Mr. Butler, we discussed it. He agreed to send the email, but I hadn't heard any
So maybe,
any rebuttal or any comment. I hadn't heard anything, so I was just asking. That's all I was doing, was asking.
I guess if we maybe talked about it Tuesday, then we can at least share ideas of what we've learned from now until then, because like I told you, I mean, I don't know everything there is to know about it, but maybe that'll give us some time.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have to have some figures on
All
it,
the
because
right
I can sit here and tell you, I wanna give, what's fair and what, we think, is best.
Well, that's, I guess,
But
yeah.
I'm not educated on it,
Right, if we come Tuesday,
at this
then
point.
ready to talk about it, then maybe we'll have a better idea of where we'll be for the next meeting to actually make a decision. Maybe.
Are you wanting figures like from other cities, or, at least to start?
That'd be
Not only what they give, what they
a-
got.
a start, yes, and that's,
How much did they receive?
I think, every city gets a different amount.
That's
They do, it's
correct.
based on their
Based-
budget.
Like Sarah didn't get 5, but how much did they receive?
Sarah Lynn received a good bit, I'm sure, it's
Yeah, that's
based on
what
their
I'm
budget.
saying, and that's what Randy's talking about, education on what it is. Plus, how many employees they have. They might have double employees too,
The only things that I know of at this point is, a bonus and, is it internet in?
Water, sewer, and
Water, and
broadband.
then COVID testing sites. So those were the only three that I know, but so,
I mean, some cities are able to add parks, but you gotta be under the poverty level. So those cities, they are able to use it for that.
You gotta remember
You can
too,
use it for internet, only if you are a CRQ and that's your median is low.
I can use some of
And
that
we don't
money to
qualify for
increase the
any of
coverage of
those.
sewer on the other side when we start this project, you know, because it was only gonna do like 100 homes. You know, or 75, whatever it was, you know, you might use some of that money to continue it on down.
I want to say Creola Day 5,000 and then 2,500.
well, like you said, give more. We could always start with 1,000, you know, just throwing that number out there. Start with 1,000 and be like, hey, it's, you know, we're thinking about you. And this is a small way to show that we didn't forget about you, that we're working on it.
I think there's certain paperwork stipulations you have to go through, and I think you would rather do it all in one amount than instead of doing it incremental, because you
I
gotta,
guess we'll just, between now and
And I wanted
Tuesday,
to
we'll
clearly
work on it.
identify the employees that have been here. Those who've been here throughout the whole thing, full-time employees,
And that's
who has
something else.
worked, and who's part-time, and who's
Plus,
volunteer.
I seen the
And you gotta
chief's thing
set
say,
those-
you know, for part-time, all right, what classifies as part-time, signing up or certain hours? You know, there's a lot of questions to be answered.
You gotta set those
No, I'm talking about
parameters.
overall. Overall, you know, you said part-time workers X number of dollars.
Because some cities.
What
put-
classifies that as part-time, how many hours?
All my
That you
part-timers
must have
are
worked from
averaging
July
80 hours a month.
to-
Well, and that's what I'm saying, is look at it, I mean, if you got somebody that
Currently.
works 100 hours a year, is he qualified? You know, I don't know, that's what I'm saying, that's questions to be answered.
And that's why I just think if we just open communication, we don't have to vote on anything, but just open it up.
But each council has to decide, like, do you wanna, you know, like I said, do you wanna pay people who work from this period of time? I mean, you may have one employee who only worked 3 months and is no longer here and skipped to another city. And you gonna give them a bonus here, they gonna get a bonus where they're at. You gotta define that
You
part
gotta
of it.
define all that, that's what I'm saying,
It's
there's
a-
more
it-
discussion to it, and just say we go do this, you know.
But to
And
start
everybody has interpreted these things differently. I would like for us to know exactly what the law is. I don't want us having to give something back at some point, because there is a lot
We should've won't
of
have to
people
give
that
it
see the way you can spend it
take
differently.
it, I don't have to take it back.
I'm not opposed to giving bonuses. I have not from the start. But I haven't heard anybody up here, though, say there was. But I know when we first got it, there was some dispute over how the money could be spent. And so I'm all for that. And if we want to do it in pre-council and kind of have something we can work on for the next week or the next meeting
Sure.
in October, then, you know, that sounds like something that's reasonable.
I think what we can do is we can work out the numbers on how many employees we got, how many part-timers we got, then we can bring that to you at
How much
pre-council,
money that is, you know.
and then we can look at that.
And like I said, if we've got volunteers that have devoted a lot of
Right.
time and responded to those type calls where they exposed, I think they should get something. So,
I mean, you got some people on payroll that have not worked an hour in many, many years.
That's what it's getting at, so do you classify that as part-time, you know?
So do you give them a bonus and they've not had 1 hour in 5 years, 6 years?
That's what
They're
I said.
just on the books.
That's one thing you gotta determine, right, a minimum threshold there.
And it was set for during the COVID, so how many hours a month each volunteer, you know?
thank all of you for coming tonight. It's 7:38. Is that everything?
One other thing that we have administration-wise is the holiday schedule. I know that we had our normal holidays, but this year the federal government has added Juneteenth as a federal holiday, which is June 19th. Is that, just think about it right now, but is that something that we want to include for our employees for that holiday?
I have, I've only given it to the mayor, but I have done the new meeting schedule and all that for him to review.
Okay.
It is on there, we would have to do a resolution.
Gotcha.
The league sent out all that stuff to add it, make sure we did that, but they suggest, because we have to get the personnel board our holiday schedule by October, so that they can know what our employees are entitled to get or not get for the next year. So,
Other than that, that's all I have.
All right. Y'all have a good evening. Thank you for coming and your input.